Somebody in Godel chat right now says huff galaxy gas. I'm hitting the gas. These guys, of course. Beam stock prices nosedived as it should. 24.50. It was 3 billion. Now it's 2 billion. 3.2 to 1.7. They raised more capital, so they have more shares outstanding. So the market cap's up at 2 billion. Similar to NTLA. Pretty much the same financial profile, I bet. Cash, same, billion. Paid in capital. This company has lost. Since 2017, they lost $1 billion. 2.2 has gone into the company for the company to be worth 2.0 7 years later. You tell me that that makes sense. The Bears got a lot of debt from buying Monsanto, and then they owe a bunch of money on Roundup. I don't know if Chinese stocks are back or not. I really don't. I know that some of them look pretty cheap. Well, we talked about that last week. I don't know if you watched, but we looked at BABA and Baidu, and they both seemed really cheap. Oh, these guys are already in phase 1-2 for antitrypsin. All right, so Beam has this BEAM-101, severe sickle cell, and that's ex vivo, so you have to do chemo to get it, which sucks. Nobody wants to do chemo. But for certain sickle cell that's really severe, chemo's not that bad. But it's worse than a chemo. It's chemo and then transplant. I have my camera down because mom came over and she wants privacy. Okay, so the Beacon study is the sickle cell. Escape is 101. 101 is glycogen store. No, 101 is sickle cell. 301. So they had a name for their preclinical study? I've never heard of that in my life. You name a preclinical trial? You shouldn't even be naming a phase 1 trial. The only time you should ever name a trial is phase 3. And if it's like 5,000 plus patients. Okay, I did name my own phase 2. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
to learn German. The Duolingo doesn't do you very much. Hold on. Focus on site activity. Oh, 302. If 302 is alpha 1, and that's their first in vivo, is 302 our first US in vivo file? Got it. So 302 has got to be in vivo, right? Okay, so this LNP trafficking straight to the liver. This is competitive with Antillia's drug. What's 𝗓𝗄? 𝗓𝗄. Find a language tutor? Oh, these guys are going out of business. I can make 50 people you could talk to in with my software in 5 minutes. Beam sounds like they're going to beat Antilia maybe even by a year to data on AATD, which is a really big indication actually. So, of course, Antilia has 2 other drugs that are very far advanced. But that makes me wonder on 302. Now, at the same time, they could be Coke and Pepsi, which isn't such a bad thing. Yeah, the OpenBB terminal is kind of bad. The thing about a terminal is you need a terminal as well as data. So you need to combine both. They have an okay terminal, but they don't really have any data. So you have to go find all the data, which doesn't make any sense. And you have to be a Linux person. If you don't know Linux, you can't even use their system. Like most people on Wall Street, they're not going to clone a repo and build it. Like, come on. It's insane. Who thought that was a good idea? No, there's a company around OpenBB. It's not just open source. They're trying to make money. They got a whole company behind them. I don't think they're gonna make it. We might have to take over that repo. Maybe I should call them. There's a saying remote leaky with a window terminal. Is that terminal? So Mr. Harm turned out more leaky. Can't scrape the data. It's too much data to scrape. All right, 6 people have been dosed with their other drug. Gotta love this company's worth $2 billion. I like that. I mean, it's really funny that they've actually spent $2 billion. They've raised $2 billion, spent 1.4. The company's worth $2 billion. It's been 7 years, right? So if they didn't raise it all at once, but hypothetically, if you just earn 10% on all that money, you would have just, all you had to do was invest in the market and you would have beaten that. No CRISPR fancy technology, no AI, no nothing fancy, just bought some stocks. SAVA super scam. It's gotten worse. SAVA got worse in the last few weeks. We learned from the SEC through their subpoenas that the data was worse than we thought. Yeah, you could have spent half the money. You could have spent 10% of the money and still been in the same place. Well, they've spent $1 billion of it. That we know. Maybe those investments will bear fruit in the long run, but not right now. SSRIs are not great medicines. They're good, but they're not great. We need something better. Well, when I lost my father, I realized that I don't know. There's not much pain that I've ever felt more than that. So why not make somebody else go through that same pain? That was a joke. Oh, I mean, Beam. If you buy Beam and NTLA, you kind of get a pretty good portfolio. I mean, why not buy both? I mean, it seems like Beam might win the AATD race, and they got some oncology, whereas NTLA would sort of going to win the HAE race, TR race. So between both these companies, you pay $4 billion market cap, you get $2 billion in cash, $2 billion EV for a gigantic amount of CRISPR drugs. Pretty good. Goodell is just research. Oh, these are long-term bets. I've been in NTLA forever. It's been a dog. Alcoholism is complicated because you're dealing with the mind, which is a construct of the brain. Yeah, Steve, you got it. Oh, these will be expensive drugs. Maybe $1 million, maybe more. I don't know about CRISPR. I don't like CRISPR. We'll start with NTLA and Beam, work our way into CRISPR and Prime. Stem cell antibody paired evasion. That sounds pretty complicated and cool. Escape. Oh, that's a conditioning platform. That's interesting. Oh, okay, so is that why they named it? Oh. Yeah, that's kind of cool. If they could get rid of the conditioning or make the conditioning simpler. So basically with these drugs, what they do is they do conditioning, which means they eliminate your bone marrow so that the new CRISPR cells can take. And that's all right, let's look at CRISPR since you're so interested in that. But yeah, look at NTLA. Between NTLA and Beam, you got a little portfolio there. You just buy both. And you got basically the best in gene therapy. The best in CRISPR. Best CRISPR companies in one little portfolio. Just buy 50-50. Now let's look at this dog called CRISPR. Oh, I thought that was the stock. What the hell is CRS? Carpenter Technology. I said, whoa, CRISPR's up a lot since I last looked at it. No, it's a dog. That's what I thought. I always hated this company. I just don't think that ex vivo therapy is any place in medicine. I hate cell therapy. There, I said it. I've been keeping that in for a long time. I've been a closet cell therapy hater. Now I'm full blown. I'm out and I'm proud. Yeah, let's take some stuff out of you, fix it up, and put it back in. Who thought that was a good idea? Yeah, you gotta be real sick to do that XSL. Hey, can we take your bone marrow, destroy it, so you die if the wind blows? And then we're gonna give you these new cells that hopefully engraft. They usually engraft though. It's basically just, do you want a stem cell transplant? I hate that term, buy and forget about it. That's what old man Marty used to say all the time. It was his favorite expression. Just buy and forget about it. But that's more of an Italian Brooklyn guy. Just buy it and forget about it. Oh, sure. That's a little very stereotypical. Buy it and you forget about it. 10 years later, you thank me. Just buy the Microsoft and forget about it. This is like 1994. And then he also said that about Genentech. Genentech, of course, is Genentech, but Bristol Myers. He barely knew what these companies did, but Roblox was, there was barely Windows at the time. I think Windows was just coming out. Yeah, Marty was a good dude. He never got his life together. I just signed up for Tinder, actually. eJom's didn't have any money in the dating app scene for a while, but look, if you got the money, you might as well just...
Alright, so CRISPR has got the similar financial structures to the other two, other than it's double in size, double in cash. But you know, actually, let me look. How much money has CRISPR spent becoming what they became? I bet you the same scenario. Well, there's nothing special about peptides. I mean, they're just small proteins. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. A little bit less, yeah. They spent 3.2 billion to be 4 billion. 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗃 is what they call this thing. 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗃. And of course, they sold it to Vertex. Couldn't even keep their own product. It's sad. Even with $2 billion, had to go to Vertex. Pathetic. 20 patients, that's it. CTX112, CTX211 for type 1. Look at Sana 2 and Prime, all these companies. So when did they launch it? Let me just go to the revenue section. Oh, that's great. Big number. Huge performance. I'm guessing Vertex book sales anyway, right? I've given my girlfriends more revenue than that quarter. Now, I know what NTAP is. I just don't. Do you need that to get reimbursed from private payers? I guess most private payers, too many people on your. Well, I mean, why not? Sickle cell targeted conditioning program. Oh, they have both TDT and SCD. I forgot this thing even got approved. Well, terminal rate is about basically, do you expect that this company will continue forevermore, as all corporations are intended to? And at what rate will their cash flow basically fritter away to zero? Give it all? Didn't you give it all? To give it all to who? Yeah, when there's patent cliffs go off, there's a terminal rate, but some drugs kind of last a long time. But yeah, typically I assume pharma cash flows will drop over time. They generally don't go away completely, though. And the way I do the models is I do a runoff anyway, so I don't take any short-lived drug into maturity. Like vaccines kind of last forever, right? Yeah, I don't know, Brett. Does he work at, I know he doesn't work at Founders Fund, right? Does he work at Teal Capital? I know one of the Teal Capital, two or three of the Teal Capital guys. I mean, this could be their most valuable drug, this CTX211. Well, Palantir has gone way too high, so it makes sense for Teal to take some off the table. If Teal's selling, it's not because it's cheap. Kramer gave me the opening in the pharma stuff. Oh, he's an Actelion guy. Okay. Who's this guy? Roland Rothschild. Orphan Europe? And Recordati? I don't know this guy. 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗢? Looks like an interesting company. Privately held, I'm assuming. Okay, so these are much more interesting targets. CTX310. Well, CRISPR Therapeutics in a lot of ways has made a lot of progress. I was initially very skeptical of the 𝗥𝗘𝗘 company. The market's correctly, in my opinion, ignored 𝗥𝗘𝗘. Basically a waste of time. I doubt Vertex will be able to make a go of it. I wonder if Vertex mentioned 𝗥𝗘𝗘 last quarter. Yeah, the machine right now doesn't distinguish between Vertex Canada and Vertex US. VRTX Canada and VRTX. Even Vertex is starting to slow down its growth. I would not buy any courses, no. You can just watch YouTube. Oh, just not a couple new, but 1993 for IV and 1993 for oral. Suzetrigine for diabetic neuropathic pain, which is very hard to treat. Wow, if they could do a combination, that's really interesting. Vertex pipeline's starting to shape up a little. They still want to do AATD, but gene therapy's coming for AATD, so Vertex, maybe they'll buy Beam or buy NTLA. They bought Alpine for $5 billion? Wow, I remember this is such a dog stock. Unbelievable. Good for Alpine. It took forever. Was Alpine still public, or did they close this thing? Yeah, they closed it. Wow, big win. I remember when they started this thing, and I was a little skeptical, so were some others. Oh, I never heard of these guys, Profound Bio. I like Suzetrigine a lot. Well, we have Humacyte coming out soon, and that's a really big one. Like, Humacyte could be a gigantic fraud. Not fraud, but a failure. Big shorts here. This is like directly from NASDAQ, so all the other brokerages, they don't actually show you multiple trades per second. It's like if you actually look at the NVIDIA on this
you can see how many times per second it's updating. This is like 10 times per second. Google only updates once every 10 seconds. And you can even see here how many milliseconds. It's like 58 seconds, 59 seconds, 0 seconds, 0.3, 1.3, 1.5, 1.9, 2.1, 2.4. These are fractions of a second. So these are the messages coming straight from NASDAQ to you. You have cassava, which is, the Alzheimer's fraud. And just because something's a short doesn't mean it's bad or like evil or something, right? It just means the price might go down. We got humacyte, which is like this weird medtech thing, weird vein, weird synthetic vein. And then we have SLS, which is this like AML drug. It's a very tough indication. AML, it's not even a drug really, it's like a cancer vaccine, or we would just say vaccine. AML vaccine. Pretty tough to vaccinate against AML. So you get 3, and they're all coming out in the next 90 days. Okay, so this is a little bit funny, and I typically don't do this kind of thing because it's very like retail-y, but my job is I'm a software CEO. This is one of our software products. It's called 𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗢. I want all of you to subscribe ASAP. We might even do discount code at some point. Okay, so let's say you have $10,000. This is kind of a funny way to look at it. And let's say you got these 3 stocks. SAVA, what's SAVA stock price? 28. You got SLS, what's SLS, like $1.25, and then HUMA. These numbers, let's say, are arbitrary. Okay, so let's say you put $3,000 or $4,000 in each. You probably get some margin, right? So let's call this position. So let's say you have negative 100 shares. So that's $3,000. Let's make it negative 120. Okay, great. And now let's say you have negative 2,000 shares here. And let's say now you have negative 500 shares here. Okay. So you're short $8,000. Let's round this on up a little bit. Let's make this up a little bit. All right. Yeah, that's a little too much. Okay, cool. Whatever. Okay, so let's say this is your situation, okay? And this is today. You put these positions on today. Yeah, we'll go public someday, but it's not crucial. Okay, so this is 10/3/24. Watch this. Let's say I'm right, and Humacyte comes out with some news. One of these guys will come out by, like, say, 10/15. Okay. Let's say it's Humacyte saying, okay, we didn't get FDA approval. And it goes to 2. Let's see, this is cost. Or sometimes we call it basis, right? And this is price now. Okay, so the price drops to $2, maybe even $1. So your P&L is $2,700. And so you liquidate this, and let's say on 10/16, this guy's gone, but you have $2,700 more. So you have sort of this plus this to trade with. So now you double this position and this position. Okay, now 11/1 rolls around. And SLS fails. Goes to 10 cents. Now you're up 5K on that. So on the 12th, you're now working with 18,500. So now you do this, and then on 12/15, or whenever the SAVA thing comes out, this goes to 2. Not the basis, but this. And now you've turned 10K into 36K. If SAVA goes up, it's going to go to like $1,000 if SAVA works. I've done this 20 years, the same exact trade. If it's going to work, it's going to go to like, if the trial works, it's going to go to like 1,000. It's not going to stop at like doubling. So this is kind of one way to do it, which is kind of neat. Well, people don't want to trade derivatives because they're exotic and complicated.
common stock is easier to trade. The odds of SAVA working, in my opinion, are 0. Remember, the drug is made up. Like, they faked everything. Yes, if one of the 3 works, it blows up the account. That's correct. So I think the odds of each one working, let's say SAVA, are literally 0. They're not going to fake the upcoming results. They already have a guy in jail. SLS, maybe 5%. And HUMA is the one I need to figure out, because I'd say HUMA is a 50-50. So that's the weird one. But the odds of getting all of these would then be 1 times 0.95 times 0.5. So you have a 47% chance of being right on all 3. But the tricky one is HUMA-site. That's why I want to spend some time on HUMA-site. And we're still not 100% sure on SLS. Right, exactly, Joey. But no, I'm pretty sure HUMA-site is like 95%, but I don't want to... I'm very conservative. Like, I don't want to throw it out there without really knowing it. The SAVA bulls are morons. I mean, they're literally going to be out of the stock market. Like, this is their one investment. Like, they don't have 10, 20, 30, 40 stocks. They literally have one stock. No, they can't continue defrauding investors because the 3 guys who committed the fraud are out of the company. One of them got arrested. 2 of them got sanctioned. All 3 of them got sanctioned by SEC. The other 3 guys, the other people on the board do not want the same thing to happen to them. One of them runs a fund. The CEO now, he runs a hedge fund. Like, he doesn't want him to go to jail. 50 push-ups? I can't do